Stick the word "sport" on the end of a car name and you give people pretty big expectations. For newcomer luxury brand Genesis, that suffix is being appended for the first time to its G80 sedan. The package has all of the ingredients of its rivals: turbocharged V6, adaptive suspension, enlarged brakes, racier design elements. But while the Genesis team has cooked up a lovely sedan with the G80 Sport, it's not as enthralling to drive as its competition. Admittedly, Genesis does not intend for the 2018 G80 Sport to be a Nürburgring star in the vein of an M, RS, or AMG model. Instead, the company is targeting the mild performance versions of other mid-size luxury sedans. Product planner Yuval Steiman, who previously worked at Lexus, specifically mentions the Lexus GSF Sport and BMW 5 Series M Sport as comparable vehicles. To begin that transformation, the G80 Sport wears a new front fascia with functional brake cooling ducts, a large grille with a crosshatch mesh design, and 19-inch wheels with copper-accented center caps. 4 exhaust tips surround a diffuser panel out back, the taillights are tinted, and the exterior trim is all darkened. Interestingly, there are no sport badges anywhere on the car, the only giveaway being the subtle 3.3T engine marker on the trunk. In total, it's a pretty standard scheme for dressing up a normal car as a sportier version. And it works well here. The G80 has an aggressive look from every angle, with a style that's all its own rather than derivative of any rival. A turbocharged engine further separates the G80 Sport from its brethren, specifically a 3.3-liter V6 that is also available in the larger, heavier Genesis G90 luxury sedan. An 8-speed automatic is your only transmission choice, with both rear and all-wheel drive on offer. With 365 horsepower and 376 pound-feet of torque, the Sport outpowers the entry-level G80 3.8-liter V6 with 311 horsepower and 293 pounds-feet, but is still outgunned by the 5.0-liter V8 model, which packs 420 horsepower and 383 pounds-feet. No sport version of the V8 is planned, primarily because the biturbo 6 is lighter than the 5.0-liter. Fortunately, the Sport has a smattering of other chassis upgrades to go along with its engine. Adaptive dampers come standard, though the suspension has not been lowered. The front brakes match those of the V8 model at 14.2 inches in diameter, albeit with upgraded brake pads, while the rear rotors are enlarged from 12.4 to 13.0 inches. There is also a higher capacity cooling fan for the turbo engine. With the drive mode switch left in normal or eco, the G80 Sport ably hides its athleticism. Deliberate throttle mapping and supple upshifts from the automatic transmission make everyday driving carefree and comfortable. The cabin is quiet thanks in part to the acoustic glass used for the windshield and front windows. A moderate amount of road noise plays from the Continental Pro Contact TX tires, but not so much as to distract from listening to the crisp 17-speaker Lexicon sound system. In these settings, the adaptive dampers allow a decent amount of body motion before sorting things out. That results in a plenty comfortable ride, even if big impacts still transmit some harshness through the 19-inch wheels and low-profile tires. All told, the G80 Sport can be perfectly refined on everything from winding back roads to traffic-choked freeways. Dial things up to sport, however, to take maximum advantage of the biturbo engine. that livens up the throttle responses, forces the transmission to hold a lower gear, and stiffens the shock absorbers. The engine builds torque easily. The peak 376 pounds-ft is available from 1,300 through 4,500 revolutions per minute, and revs in a firm, deliberate manner. It sounds nice and throaty under throttle, and while shifts effected by the steering wheel paddles are not particularly crisp, the G80 Sport is plenty quick, perhaps 6 seconds or quicker to 60 miles per hour. When things get twisty, though, it begins to stumble. The electric power steering offers no feeling or feedback to my fingertips, and its weighting can change unpredictably. Enter a corner and the steering effort, while never really changing as you add lock, is at least weighty enough to satisfy. But as you hold a line through a bend, the weighting twitches and fidgets. When you unwind the wheel, it feels completely different again. It's distracting on the excellent 2 lanes snaking through the Napa Valley. The chassis, too, doesn't quite feel up to hustling quickly. With the suspension in sport mode, the body moves plenty before things are very abruptly damped. There's vagueness when the car settles into a bend, though the 245/40 R19 front and 275/35 R19 rear tires are pretty much unperturbable at legal speeds. But I keep finding myself longing for a purer, more predictable driving experience with better feedback to the driver. Again, the G80 Sport is not meant to be an out-and-out performance car. Driven at 6/10 on these roads, it acquits itself just fine. Taken as a sporty car, though, it just lacks the smoothness and directness to string together several corners in a row. For that, you'll be better served by the aforementioned BMW M Sport and Lexus F Sport models, to say nothing of the unerringly precise way the Mercedes-AMG E43 handles twisting pavement. Switching to an all-wheel drive car reveals almost no dynamic differences on dry roads. The car's system, called HTRAC, has a nominal front-rear torque split of 40 to 60, but can shift as much as 90% of engine torque to one axle in slippery circumstances. The AWD car is 156 pounds heavier and has a turning circle that's over a foot greater than the rear driver, but those will be of little concern to the snowbelt buyers Genesis hopes to attract. Currently, Genesis sales are clustered in the sunnier, Smile states, like California in the Southwest, and only about 40% of G80s come with AWD. The inside of the G80 is a nice place to spend time at any speed. The Sport trim wears a unique steering wheel, a suede headliner, various copper accents, carbon fiber trim on the dash and door panels, and shiny metal pedals. Sport-specific seats have enough bolstering to keep you in place through high G-bends without affecting comfort, and feature contrast stitching in that same copper color. Sitting in back, there's lots of leg and headroom to keep adults comfortable on long journeys. The copper accents and carbon fiber trim continue for rear passengers, too. The generously sized trunk will accommodate 15.3 cubic feet of luggage. Fuel economy for the Sport falls midway between the base piece